I think we've all been meal prepping wrong, and I think I have the solution. It's my 6-5-4-3-2-1 meal prep system, and what I really love about it is it'll let you have food on the table in 10 minutes or less every day, but unlike traditional meal prep, you're not tethered to just eating the same meal over and over and over again. Instead, it kind of gives you infinite possibilities and combinations. So let's get into it. So the premise of this meal prep system is that rather than just prepping a couple of meals that you then put into individual Tupperwares or whatever, instead we're gonna prep basically a bunch of ingredients that we can then combine in any way. And the next 3 episodes after this week, I'm actually gonna show you how we're gonna use everything that we're prepping today. Today, we're just doing the prepping. So the idea is you would do this like big prep day on Sunday or whatever day makes sense for you, whatever is your reset day. And then throughout the week, you can just have meals ready in no time at all. Anyway, so I'm gonna go through what everything means. 6 stands for 6 cooked veggies. By the way, all the numbers, like the 6-5-4-3-2-1 is kind of a little gimmicky. It's a little bit so you remember it. It's a framework, right? That's all it is. But you wanna have roughly 6 different cooked veggies. So today I wanna do steamed beets, steamed sunchokes, steamed cauliflower, steamed squash, and then we're gonna roast some eggplant and some mushrooms. And the reason I'm steaming all of these, even though they'd probably taste way better if I just threw them in the oven and roasted them, is because water-based cooking is a lot better for you for a variety of reasons. We've done episodes on it in the past, so I'm not gonna bore you with it, but let's get into this stuff. So I'm gonna throw my beets into my steamer basket. Let me go grab it. I have this guy on right now. So we're just gonna throw the beets in here. Is that all the beets? Yeah, I think that's all the beets. And even though this isn't boiling yet, I'm just gonna throw it on because, like, why not? The beets take the longest, so it makes sense to just get them on now. And then once the water is boiling, it'll get going. Actually, I'm gonna cut this squash first because this one takes longer. So this is a kogi nut squash. This one's carnival squash. And you can do whatever 6 cooked veggies you want. These are just the ones that I'm craving. So these are the ones that I'm gonna use. But if you wanna follow my exact meal prep, I'll put like a full grocery list for you in the bottom if that helps. You know, something that I think people don't talk about enough is how good squash smells when you just like cut into it. Like, it just smells so good. I have never gotten like that into winter squashes. I think it's one of those things that like I felt pressure to like because I feel like other people love winter squashes. But this year I like really can't get enough. I'm gonna do a little garbage bowl. What is it, Ina who does it? I think Ina's the one who does it. I used to watch so much Food Network when I was in college, which was funny because I do this now. I'm sure that like primed my brain for it, but what's funny is I haven't watched anything like that in so long. Is that funny or is that just a stupid, boring story? Now that I think about it, I'm like, there's not one part of that that's actually like, haha, funny. Oh, wow, this smells insane. It smells like pumpkin pie, honestly. Speaking of pumpkin pie, if you've never had Mamie Sapote, I so highly recommend it. It's a type of fruit, it's a tropical fruit, and it literally tastes like pumpkin pie filling. And when I say that, I don't mean that it tastes like pumpkin. I mean, it tastes like pumpkin pie filling. Like, it tastes like it has the sugar and the cinnamon and the butter and all the things in it. I've also never made pumpkin pie before. Maybe that's something I should endeavor into. I don't do a whole lot of dessert, honestly. I really don't do a lot of baking, although I do have a few standout recipes. Like, I think my high protein, high fiber, toasted coconut brownies are probably my most popular recipe. Like that's the one that I get the most like comments and DMs on, and it really is really, really good. I should make those again. That was a crazy week though when I developed that recipe. I kept testing and retesting it, and I think I ate like 6 batches of brownies in like 4 days. And like it's really healthy, so I mean it's not the end of the world, but it was a lot, and it's a lot of fiber, like a lot of fiber. So I mean my gut health was great, but also like I think my intestines were a little overburdened. They were like, this is kind of a psychotic amount of fiber that you're shoving down our throats, ma'am. Good times. I should make those brownies soon. Also, cutting squash is not for the faint of heart. Okay. I'm just gonna throw them in. I can always take them out when they're ready. All right, carnival squash is a lot more watery and less tough than kogi nuts, so it definitely doesn't need as long. And then the sunchokes and cauliflower need the least. That's why I'm throwing them in this order, if that makes sense. Also, you're more than welcome to roast all of your veggies or cook them in whatever way will be pleasurable to you. Something about me is I've never minded a soggy veggie. Like I really like steamed vegetables. I especially like steamed beets, and something else that I do that makes them a lot easier to eat is I don't peel them, which I know is controversial, but a lot of the nutrients of root vegetables come in the peel, so I just kind of scrub them pretty well. I buy organic, I scrub them well, and I call it a day. It's just what I do. I'm not telling you to do it. You do have to really wash them well, otherwise you get like dirt in your teeth. The worst though is washing sunchokes, because they get all these like crevices like this. This still has like tons of dirt in it. But what I do with sunchokes is I soak them in water for a really long time. I keep like soaking and draining and soaking and draining. But you know, case in point, if there's like really deep crevices, you're still not gonna get all the dirt out. I'm gonna have to scrub that guy again. Ugh. God, I feel like I'm going to war with this thing. Remind me to do this the next time I get cunty. Oh my God, I was on the phone with my brother earlier. We were talking about one of his friends coming on the show, and he goes, "Do you allow cursing?" I was like, bitch, you clearly have never watched even 5 minutes of this program, have you? Do I allow cursing? I tried not to curse last week, and you know what I mentioned? I managed not to say cunt. I did go into cunt withdrawals though. I feel like I've been saying it way more than ever in my interpersonal life now, because I didn't say it for like 5 minutes on the show. It's highly concerning. You know what's gonna be really hard for me? Not eating this stuff until I shoot the next 3 episodes, like actually holding on to it. That's gonna be a big challenge for me, so I hope you appreciate it. I think I'm gonna do this stuff, the roasting stuff first, and then cut the cauliflower and add the rest of the stuff, because I'm gonna just kind of like trickle in and out the steaming. That makes no sense. What was I trying to convey? Because I don't even know. Basically what I mean is I want to check on the beets and stuff and see how they're doing, and potentially remove stuff before adding new things in, or maybe I just add it all in. I don't know. Either way, let's get the roasting starting. Now, roasting eggplant and mushrooms really doesn't take very long at all. And because they're all very water rich, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna throw them in and not add any oil, and then like halfway through spritz on a little avocado oil. So I'm just gonna do something kind of blasphemous. I'll leave the oven open so all the heat can escape from my preheating. Great plan. By the way, I always use Japanese eggplant because you never have to salt it, like it never gets bitter. And then I have enoki mushrooms, which I randomly just love so much. I just cut the bottoms off of it. Just gonna throw these guys in too. You know what, I should just take it out. I don't know why I did it like that. After all of that, by the way, this is like the one color thing I own. When Ozzy and I were early into dating, he like bought it for me randomly one day. He just like showed up and he's like, oh, I got you this. Like, I thought you could use it in the kitchen because nothing is colored. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And secretly I was like, we don't do color in this household. But no, it's so sweet of him. I keep it, even though, you know, I hate it. No, I don't hate, see, like I feel so guilty. And this is why I don't like gifts. Because if someone gives me something that I don't like, which I probably won't because I'm very particular, then I feel really, really guilty. And then that makes me really, really sad. So like, it's not really a gift for me. It's a source of stress. We're gonna throw all this stuff in. Is this pan a little overcrowded? Yes. Do I care? Not really. And that's at $4.25, by the way. Disgusting. What is that? Oh, it's so slimy. It's the top of an enoki mushroom. It felt like a booger. Disgusting. Now, please don't judge me for this cauliflower. I honestly think it has like a tiny bit of mold growing on it, and I just tried to cut it off, and I'm still gonna eat it, and I don't think you're supposed to do that. So like, do as I say, not as I do. Like, this is like not good for you. And please, please, please don't message me telling me how bad it is. Hold on, let's cut into it. And I think it's fine. It just had like little black bits. But I know you're not really supposed to do that, so yikes, whatever. I'm just gonna throw this cauliflower in and also throw the sunchokes in, and we're just gonna let everyone steam. And I don't really care about overcrowding that either, because like the overcrowding matters for like getting things crispy and whatever. We're just steaming, like who cares? Okay, so we covered the 6. Now we're on to 5, and 5 is for 5 Fs. So there are 5 different categories. There are fruits, fats, foliage, ferments, and fresh herbs. And you want to have at least one of each, but ideally multiple. And the good thing is this isn't even a lot of prepping. This is mostly just grocery shopping. So for fruits, I have tomatoes. Yes, they are a fruit. Cucumbers, again, a fruit. Lemons, also a fruit. Pomegranate seeds, also a fruit, and one of the few, you know, what we traditionally think of as fruits that are in season right now. Also, just a quick little tidbit. I'm sure you know this. Obviously, fruits are anything that has a seed, right? That's what settles the great tomato debate. Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? But what you may not know, you probably do know, because you probably learned this in science class, just like I did, like literally in elementary school. A fruit is a ripened ovary of a flower. That's why anything with a seed is a fruit, including things that we really don't think of as fruits, like eggplant. Like eggplant is biologically speaking a fruit. Do we think of it as a fruit? Obviously not, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so those are the fruits that I have. Again, technically avocado is a fruit, but I'm throwing it under the category of a fat. So let's actually move on to fats. I have avocado and I got some olives. But other good options in this area, in this category, would be things like nuts, seeds. You get the point. Foliage, I mean like fresh leafy greens type vibes. So I have arugula and I have this pink radicchio, which has seen some better days and definitely needs to be used. Fresh herbs, I have cilantro, parsley, dill, and I have some scallions. And, well, okay, so we did fruits, we did foliage, we did fresh herbs, we did fats. So all that's left is ferments. And these are like your fermented vegetables like sauerkraut and kimchi, and also pickles. And I'm actually gonna make something really quickly. But this is like the only lift there is in this category, if you will. So let's move some of this shit out of the way. Oh, by the way, this is my favorite kimchi ever. It is mustard leaf kimchi and it's plant-based. A lot of kimchi is not. It's by the brand Goshen. It's like this lovely family-owned company. I really cannot say enough good things about them. Okay, so I'm not doing a traditional pickling, but I just want to flash pickle some red onion and cabbage. It makes this like beautiful pinky purple tart thing that you can just sprinkle over anything. And I love that it's really low lift. Like literally all I do is just slice it really thin. So I'm using a mandolin. You don't technically have to. And I just throw it in a jar and I add some oil over top, and that's literally it. I think it might be time for me to get my knife sharpened. I could actually take it to the store. Ozzy bought this for me. He had it engraved. There's a store really close to us. I think you can just take it over there and ask them to do it. Wow, it's a lot of fucking cabbage. We're gonna throw this shit into a jar. Oof, I had hibiscus in this jar before, like dried hibiscus, and I clearly did not rinse it out. I mean, I think I didn't rinse it out because it still smells really hibiscus-y, but it works. Okay, this cabbage I'm just gonna have to eat or something. And don't tempt me with a good time. I used to hate onions and now I like them. Isn't that a great story? No, I used to like really hate onions, and they're very prominent in Persian cooking. The only thing I liked is my mom, like the base of most Persian cooking is caramelized onions. And so my mom would make like caramelized onions, and sometimes we just eat caramelized onions between a specific type of Persian bread, lavash. It's like a thinner bread. Oh, the best. And one time I had a friend over and she said that it tasted like McDonald's chicken nuggets, which I had never had. This was when I lived in Germany, so like also they might be different. But my family kept halal when I was growing up. I mean, they still do keep halal. I just don't eat meat anymore. So it's, well, like when I went to college, or even when I was in high school, like when I went out to eat, my parents weren't there. I'd like, you know, eat all the things. And when I went to college, same, but like I wouldn't tell my parents. I think when I went to college, I was like, yeah, I eat chicken sometimes, but like they would have died if they knew I ate pork. Like they would not have been supportive of that at all. But like in the house, we only ate meat from the halal butcher. Like, so if my parents go out to eat, still to this day, and it's not a halal restaurant, they won't. By the way, if I say halal any more times, I feel like the NSA is gonna come in here. Yeah, like they'll only eat fish or vegetarian or whatever. They won't eat meat because it has to be killed. The animal has to be killed in a specific way to be halal. Anyway, growing up, this was like highly traumatic for me because I couldn't eat like all the fun things that other kids would eat. So yeah, it was really hard. And yeah, my friend said that that tasted like chicken nuggets. And I was like, oh, interesting, because I had never had them. It was very hard. I remember one day, I went to private school in Germany. I went to the international school, to be more specific. And so my brother was like technically at the same school, although we were in different wings of the school. But one day there was like some kind of like school fair thing. By the way, this is just rice vinegar, and I had to double check because I have identical containers for hypochlorous acid and for Castile soap. So it's like, wait, let me make sure I'm not like pouring a bunch of soap over this. Also, let's check on those. Yeah, they're pretty much done. We're just gonna put this guy away. So you really wanna let this sit overnight. Beautiful. And that's our 4 Fs. Okay, let's move, 5 Fs, sorry. Let's move on to the 4s. So we've done the 6 of the 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 meal prep system. We've done the 5 of the 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 meal prep system. And that brings us to the 4. And the 4 stands for 4 S's. And the S's are sauces, spreads, and soups. Now this is where we really get fun. And you can kind of do whatever you want. I change it up all the time. So what I'm gonna do for this specific meal prep is I already have my soup. It's the same soup we made a couple of weeks ago in the breakfast episode. So it has my plum, quince, apple compote, super seaweedy, plant-based collagen miso soup situation. So I have this prepped and ready for my breakfasts. I also sometimes incorporate it into lunch, etc. But we're gonna make 3 sauces. So the first sauce that I wanna make is a high protein green goddess situation. So for this, we have 1 package of silken tofu, 1 peeled lemon, 3 pitted medjool dates, 3 tablespoons of miso, 2 tablespoons of Dijon, and we're gonna blend this together first. And then add in a 1/4 cup extra virgin olive oil and a handful each of fresh herbs. I use dill, parsley, and cilantro. Okay, the next sauce I wanna do is a garlicky tahini. Now, a lot of people make their tahini dressing sweet. I don't want to make this one sweet because the other 2 sauces we have are a little bit more on the sweet side. So we're gonna go super savory, super tahini-y. Also, just a fun fact, in traditional Persian medicine, they say that sesame is one of the best things for counteracting acid reflux. And this is really gonna age me, but I've had terrible acid reflux lately. And I mean, am I eating all of the worst things for acid reflux? 100%. But still, it's going on. So I'm very into tahini these days. So for our tahini dressing, we're gonna do 3/4 cup water, a 1/2 cup of tahini, 3 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons white miso, 1 peeled lemon, blend. Okay, the last sauce I wanna do for this meal prep is what I'm calling umami sauce. It's kind of Asian-y, super, super, super salty, like way too salty on its own, but it works really, really nicely when you mix it with a bunch of veggies and stuff. And like I said, over the course of the next 3 weeks, we'll see exactly how to use these. So for that, we have 2/3 cup of pitted medjool dates, and you really wanna pack in the medjool dates, a 1/4 cup of water, 2/3 cup of tamari, a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar, a few drops of liquid smoke, 1 tablespoon sesame oil, a little splash of sunflower lecithin. If you don't have this, it's fine. 1 bird's eye chili. If you don't like spicy foods, just leave that out. 3 cloves garlic, blend, blend, blend. This is actually one of my favorite things to eat with cucumber. All right, now that we have our sauces, we don't even have to blend anything for the rest of the week. How exciting is that? Let's move right along. Okay, we've done our 6 cooked veggies. We've done our 5 Fs, the fruits, fats, foliage, fresh herbs, ferments. We've done our 4 S's. We have our soup and we have a bunch of sauces. Now it's time for our 3, and 3 is for 3 proteins. Now, I highly recommend having at least one of your 3 proteins be plant-based. Obviously, in my meal prep, all 3 of my proteins are gonna be plant-based, and we're gonna start with this Thai curry red lentil. Okay, let's try to not catch on fire. By the way, I turned the oven off a really long time ago, in case you're wondering. So I had this idea because, you know, I always like to go a little bit fusion-y, if you will. And I know that with red lentils, we usually do very like Indian curry kind of vibes, you know, dal, whatever. So I just wanted to change it up and do something different. So I thought it would be fun to do it more like Thai style. So I have some red curry paste. I actually really like this one. It's vegan and it has no sugar or anything in it. So we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of this red curry paste. By the way, when I was recipe testing this, I tried it a bunch of different ways, but the like aroma of the Thai red curry paste was like all over the apartment and like so spicy. And yeah, it was a bit of a shit show, I'm not gonna lie. We're just gonna bloom the, oh my God, the oil is splattering all over me. It's because the pot was a little wet. Like, This is dangerous. Also, I worry that it's fucking up the camera. So, you know, fun times over here. I'm just burning the house down. Watch my cooking show. I'll teach you how to cook. As I'm making moldy cauliflower and catching on fire. Okay, enough of this, I think. All right, I'm gonna add a cup of dry red lentils. These need no soaking. I'm gonna do 2 cups of water. Just mixing it up to make sure I get all the Thai curry paste. And then I'm gonna do 1 cup of this soy milk. Now I have a little bit left over from my coffee this morning. So I'm gonna start with that. I'll add a bit more. And this is to get it nice and creamy. It's also gonna up the protein quite a bit. And then I'm gonna move this to the stove in the back so we can make one of our other proteins now. But I just wanna say real quick, we are gonna add some coconut butter, not coconut oil, coconut butter. By the way, how beautiful is this getting? To this once it cooks a little bit. And we're also gonna add coconut aminos to bring out some of the sweetness. I'm also gonna put a lid on this when I move it, just a heads up. Okay, the next protein I wanna do are butter beans, and I'm actually just using packaged butter beans. They're technically not canned. I like this brand because they're really big. Some brands have like really tiny canned butter beans, but I like these. Oh my God, I can feel the Thai curry spice, the thing I was talking about before. Okay, I've never done this before. I did not intend to fry them like this. I would use the saucepan, but because I'm using it for the red lentils, they are not available right now. So I'm just adding some soy milk. I just want to make this kind of creamy. And then once I turn the heat off, excuse me, it's the Thai curry. I'm gonna mix in some miso. Okay, I think you get the vibe here. I don't really need to do much. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move this to the stove in the back. And then we're gonna do our last of our 3 proteins. Okay, now we're doing our last of the proteins. By the way, I added some nutritional yeast to the butter beans because I forgot about that. I really haven't made it like this before. We'll see what happens. Like, this is not something I tested at all. I did test the red lentils and they were delicious. Like, I actually might have to make a second batch because I feel like I'm gonna eat it all like as soon as we're done here. Okay, for our last protein, I wanna do tofu. Now, all I'm gonna do to this tofu is I'm just gonna marinate it. And I kind of don't even really cook my tofu, but I mean, it is technically cooked. It's not like it's raw soybeans, but I'm just gonna marinate it. And then you'll see in the next 3 episodes, whenever we use it, I'm just gonna heat it up and that's it. You could bake it or like pan fry it or do whatever you want. I'm just gonna throw it into the microwave, I think. But we'll see in the next 3 episodes, yeah. So I'm just gonna open this package over the sink. I love this brand, by the way. It's just the 365, like the Whole Foods brand. Their pressed extra firm tofu, I think is phenomenal. I like a lot of different types of tofu for different things. This is one of my favorites though. So I'm just gonna open it over the sink so that the water pours into the sink, and then we'll come back, chop, and do all the things. By the way, for the red lentils, once they hit a boil, I just turn it all the way down. Okay, now this tofu is pressed, so I'm really not gonna press it at all. I actually don't press tofu in general, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just gonna cube this. I'm actually excited because I used to make tofu like this every week, and I haven't had it in literally years. Like, I think since like 2021, I haven't had it. So I'm really, really excited to do this again. And I used to just like marinate it and then eat it like straight out the fridge. But now that I'm in my, you know, Chinese girl era where I really only eat warm foods for the most part, I will probably microwave it or something. It's a lot of tofu, it won't all fit. I guess I'll have to just eat some. I don't have open tamari, that's fine. So for the marinade, we're gonna do a lot of coconut aminos. I'm guessing no tamari unless I feel like getting it out. I usually do tamari for this, but maybe I'll omit it on account of it being in a shelf that's hard to reach right now. A couple of drops of liquid smoke. You never want to go too hard with liquid smoke, but a little bit is just a phenomenal flavor. And then some rice vin. Again, let's make sure it's not soap. Now, truthfully, the hardest thing about this is the better marinated bits are on the bottom. I guess you could store it like this if your jar is super, super safe. Yeah. Okay, let's get this shit away and then we'll move on to our 2 category. We're almost done. I thought this episode was gonna be a lot harder to film than it has been. I mean, it hasn't been easy, but you know, it hasn't quite been the chaos I was envisioning. Okay, real quick before we get to our 2 and our 1. We're almost there. What just fell? That's fine. Real quick, I'm gonna add the coconut butter and the coconut aminos to our red lentils. Scared my hair is gonna catch on fire. I actually have a very deep-seated fear of my hair catching on fire. It's like one of my bigger fears in life. It happened to this girl one time in a public setting, and I think it was really embarrassing for her, and ever since it's been one of my biggest fears. So I'm doing 2 tablespoons of coconut butter. Again, coconut butter, not coconut oil. Coconut oil, I think you know what it is. Coconut butter is more analogous to peanut butter. So they just take dried, shredded coconut and pulse it until you get this pasty thing. And 3 tablespoons of coconut aminos. You can do more of the coconut butter. It'll give it more of a coconutty flavor. I'm just doing 2 because it is a lot of saturated fat, so I just don't want to have like that much in there. Stunning. Okay. Moving on to our 2. So the 2 is 2 grains. You want to have 2 types of grains. Now, something I did when I first started filming was cook our wild rice. So I actually technically have 3 grains, we'll get into it, but one of my grains is wild rice. So I started soaking, I did 1 cup of wild rice, and not a wild rice blend that has brown rice, etc. in it. Also, wild rice is technically not a grain, it's technically a seed, but we're not playing the technical game right now, okay? So I took 1 cup of wild rice last night and I started soaking it. And the reason I did this, you don't have to soak it, but I love when wild rice bursts like this. Like, this is what makes it yummy to me. So I soaked it overnight, and then the pot that I steamed the veggies in, I threw in that soaked and rinsed and drained wild rice in there with 3 cups of water. And then I've been steaming the veggies over it. That's why part of this wild rice is a little bit red. It's from the beets. The other grains I have is bread. So I have some fresh sourdough and I have some tortillas. Now, something about me, I don't like a corn tortilla. That is like the more traditional thing, but I don't like them. So I got these whole wheat tortillas and I really like them. It's this brand. I think they're really good. So yeah, I technically have more like 3 grains rather than 2 grains, although I mean, these are the same grain. I just have them in 2 different formats. And that brings me to a very important point. The 654-321, it's kind of a gimmicky memory device, right? It's not a hard or fast rule. Like, if you want to do 6 cooked veggies, do 6 cooked veggies. If you want to do 4 proteins instead of 3, do 4. You know what I mean? But you kind of want to think of it in that pyramid. So you want to have a lot of veggies. You want to have a lot of like fresh stuff and fermented stuff. You want to have a few different types of protein, a few different types of grains. And that brings me to our 1. By the way, a lot of these veggies are done steaming. I've been taking them out as they get ready. Some of them are still kind of going, so I'm just like letting them sit in here for a bit. The beets are quite ready. The sunchokes I wish I had put in earlier. Those are really still going. And Great, love that for me. These red lentils are just about done. And our butter beans are just about done. And that brings me to what our one is, and that is a treat. And it can be whatever you want, but it has to feel like a treat to you. Like it can't be healthy. Oh, I mean, it can be healthy, but it has to feel like a treat to you. It has to feel like it's like taboo or off limits. So it could be chocolate, it could be candy, it could be gummies, it could be chips, it could be alcohol, like whatever your treat is. Now, I'm not like in a big sweets mood these days. I do still have the Vegemite ice cream from last week in the freezer, but my actual treat that I got for myself, like if I really want to be indulgent, this is what I'm gonna have. Let me show you. I have a bunch of frozen dumplings from Trader Joe's. These are all vegan ones. This is my treat. Like this is what I'm in the mood for when I want to be indulgent. It's dumplings. Again, your treat can be whatever you want it to be. So that's really it. That's our 6-5-4-3-2-1 meal prep system. As you can see, it's a little bit chaotic and stressful and difficult on the day of, but if you just set aside a couple of hours for this, then throughout the week, you can have meals on the table in 10 minutes or less, which like invest a couple of hours for one day so that you can eat healthy all week long. And what's really cool about this also, I know I keep talking about this versus like a traditional, meal prep where you make the same meals and you just eat the same meals all week. That's really bad for you, for your gut health, because for your gut health, you really want to have a diversity of plant foods, because the more diverse plants you eat, the more diverse of a microbiome population you have in your gut. And that's really what leads to good gut health. And an estimate rule of thumb is that you should be eating 30 different types of plants throughout the week to have the strongest gut microbiome. Obviously, that's like not really a hard or fast rule, but what's really cool is if you followed our meal prep today, you actually well exceeded that. And tune in for the next 3 episodes because I'm gonna show you a bunch of different fucking meals that you can make with everything that we prepped today. How fun is this? All right, guys, I'm gonna go clean up. Tune in next week. You'll see everything cooked, ready, and how we're gonna use it all. I hope this is a helpful framework for you. Let me know what you think, and I'll put an exact grocery list in the show notes so you can follow this exact meal prep, and then tune in next week to get some ideas for how to use it. All right, that's it. Love you. Thanks for being here. We'll chat next week. Bye. Sam wanted to come say hi too. Have a good week. Why is it that eggplant feels so sexual? It's just crazy that the eggplant emoji has just like ruined the vegetable for us. Like I saw the eggplant and I was like, are we shooting a porno? What is this?